I'm Lily.
And I'm Jordan.
And we're the Drakes.
Welcome to Drake Academy. On this week's episode of Drake Academy, for our icebreaker, Lily and I are going to go through the cards that we want to see unbanned, and then a couple cards that we want to see banned. Then we're going to transition into the bulk of our discussion, politics, deal making, lying, and how you can survive all of it. We'll show you the path.
Very relevant topic.
After this weekend and the drama of the past week, very relevant.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about the meta that we saw at the 20K CCS event. Was another weird week of meta shifting. I don't feel like there's a meta anymore.
No.
Like at all.
It's just chaos at this point.
Feels like absolute chaos.
The meta's just vibes.
Honestly, it's sometimes good though. Like,
it's a good diversity, good health, right?
True.
You know,
true.
Positives.
Right before the ban announcement, too. Yay, CEDH is healthy. Ban, unban.
And everything changed.
Yep. And then we'll wrap it up with some audience questions just like normal. All right. First, before we get into today's episode, we want to do a quick shout out to our sponsors. First up, we have the Kraken's Cup, hosted by Kraken's Keep Game & Cards. This is going to be a 20K CEDH tournament in Outer Banks, North Carolina, more specifically Nags Head, North Carolina, March 21st. Lily and I are going to be there. We hope you guys can join us. We're pretty excited about this tournament. We don't get a lot of big tournaments like this in North Carolina, so we want to make this one super special. If you register here with this link, this really helps the community getting these big tournaments. The more people we can get to show up to this stuff, the more likely we get big tournaments in the future.
Yep.
We also are going to be attending the Boyle, Lango's next big tournament. This one is got a couple of really cool special things going on. For one, we have the CEDH team event that is going to be between 4 teams. We're really excited for that. We get to do a kind of a cool showcase on Friday. We're also going to be experimenting with some rules that change things up. We've got little time chips, in fact, that kind of change the nature of the game. We're pretty excited about it. We've actually picked our Boyle team. It's going to be me, Zeke, Eric, and Dallas will be representing Monolith there. We're pretty excited about it and everything that we've got going on. This is going to be hosted in New Orleans, Louisiana, March 28th. Again, we're going to have a pretty good presence. Lily and I will be there, of course, but also many members of Team Monolith are going to be there. So go ahead and get registered for this event. You can use the link below. You can also go to Lango's website, type in code Monolith, and get 10% off your order. Either way works. Either way supports both the team and this channel. So please sign up. We're really, really excited about this event. Like I said before, the Boyles always happen to be some of the biggest capstone events for Lily and I. Mm-hmm. The first Boyle was our first CEDH tournament ever. The second Boyle is, of course, the one I won. I'm here to take the crown again. Defend the crown, I should say. Not take it. Defend it. You want to come for the king, you best not miss.
Terrible.
So definitely sign up. We're excited for it. We think this is going to be an awesome event. And if you've never been to New Orleans before, it's a really cool city. Lots of cool things to do here. So let's start with our icebreaker. Lily, what card do you want to see come off the Game Changer list?
Come off the Game Changer list?
Oh, wait, no, banned off the Game Changer list. Not off, no. Yes, banned off the Game Changer list.
Just pick one. What do I want to see banned?
Yes.
Okay. Gaia's Cradle?
No, what? Absolutely not. Gaia's Cradle.
Gaia's Cradle.
Why?
Why not?
Okay, that's just green hate. That's absolutely... There's not even a good reason behind that.
Okay, no, seriously. If Tolarian Academy is banned, Gaia's Cradle should be banned.
No, those two are completely different.
How are they different?
Bro, most games, I barely get to like 6 to do my Abora line. Right? Like 6 creatures is hard to maintain. 6 artifacts is trivial. It's like absolutely trivial. It's so trivial. Token, 0 drop, 0 drop, 0 drop. Lands,
okay,
creatures.
You run Charismatic Conqueror, Oscillate Pride.
Yeah, you can choose not to give me those. If you're greedy, I get vampires. That's your choice. That's not my choice.
This sounds like green cope.
It's white cope, technically. No, but think about it, right? Like, most games, it is a struggle to get to that count. Whereas Tolarian Academy, I mean, thank God the Moxen are banned, but, like, literally, it's, how many 0-drop artifacts are in the game? So many. I mean, Blue Farm's jokingly running Mem Knight, or maybe not jokingly. I can't actually tell if that's a meme.
I don't know if that's a meme anymore. I think it's just main Blue Farm tech at this point.
Right? I mean, there's like 4 artifact creatures you could run for 0 mana.
Sure.
And then all those 0-drop rocks, like the bad ones, like Jeweled Amulet. You could even run the stupid, that's the kicker one. I don't remember what it's called. You can kick it for extra colorless mana. It's like X, or you can just play it for free and it just does nothing.
No idea.
But like if it's Tolarian Academy, who cares? They get like an Urza deck. They get like bazillion mana for like doing nothing, and that's just Urza.
Yeah, I mean,
now take that art that and put it on a land. Plus, like you can run the artifact lands.
Yeah,
they would also count. No, Tolarian Academy is dumb. It's a dumb card.
That's yes, it is a dumb card.
And Cradle's not dumb. That's my point.
Once again, that's green cope.
It's not green cope.
Okay, the amount of times that I have heard you, and not just you actually, you and other green X players say tap for 15. Untap Cradle, tap for another 15. Oh, I'm up to 30. Cool, win the game. Because I'm not going to advocate for a wholesale ban of Thrasios, even though I would love to advocate for a wholesale ban of Thrasios. But I don't think they'll ban just a single commander. And if just a single commander is going, it's Rograk, right? Because Rograk's objectively busted.
Actually, probably be Timbo.
Maybe.
Green has only just finally gotten good. I don't want to hear it. Literally, the only
and it
green
needs
deck.
to be taken down a peg.
No, we just arrived on scene. You got to give us some time.
You've had enough time. You're done.
Blue Farm still wins plenty of games without ever touching green. Rockside wins plenty of games without ever touching green. I'm kind of running out of decks after that, actually.
Interesting point.
Okay,
Jordan.
Kidden doesn't care about Cradle. And they wouldn't play. Kidden doesn't care about Cradle. No, they don't care.
They don't care about Cradle, but they care about their creatures.
But they don't care about Cradle, so it doesn't matter.
But they still incidentally run Cradle, right? Because it's so broken.
It's not that broken. When is the last time Cradle made a difference in a Kidden game?
In a Kinnan game specifically?
Yeah. Where Kidden was running Cradle. It doesn't ever make a difference to Kidden. They already shot out like 11 mana anyway. What's 3 more or 4 more?
Do you hear the scope?
They don't care. They get to 7 like it's nothing.
They do get to 7 like it's nothing.
So,
and they shouldn't have another tool to make it easier.
Why? Cradle doesn't help them at all.
Maybe not in every game.
It's
not plan A, right? It's not tree farm, for sure. I'll give you that. It's not plan A.
The only decks where Cradle feels super oppressive is the Thrasios decks. That's it. Because it's hard to convert that mass amount of green mana consistently. So a lot of the times it just gets wasted. Legitimately, right? Like, and we're being serious about it. Unless you're doing a green tutor, most of the time, the mana is just wasted. So it's only Thrasios because it is the only deck that converts mana consistently. At least that's meta, right? I mean, there's a couple others that are out there, but traditionally, the only reason Cradle's busted is because of the Thrasios decks.
Right.
Right, but that's kind of my point. Then it's not that damaging of a card. If only one deck is, or one card commander is really taking advantage of it, then the card can't really be busted. Think about like the other cards that are banned, right? Things like Gristlebrand and Tinker and Tolarian Academy, like you mentioned, or what's the stupid the engine? I can't even remember the name of it. The basically Seedborn Muse but colorless, right?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Holy cow! Why can I not remember the name of it? Doesn't matter. Someone in the comments, you'll tell me what it is. I know you. I trust you guys.
You talked about it on another podcast.
I did.
Actually, you jokingly said it should be unbanned, right?
No.
Not joking?
No, I don't think it should be unbanned. I'll talk about my unbanned. Actually, you want to talk about my unbanned? Yours is crazy. Or no, I'll talk about my ban. Yeah. It's Bowmasters.
Are any of us surprised?
I already ranted about it.
Are any of us surprised?
It deserves to be banned. This weekend was a great example. I lost because of Bowmasters. And my own mistakes, but we'll ignore that last part. It's mostly Bowmasters.
Oh no, the green deck was brought to heel by Bowmasters. Ban it.
I wasn't even the one drawing cards. The person who pushed first is actually the one who drew all the cards.
Was it a Blue Farm player?
Yes. My point. 2 Blue Farm players.
Always a Blue
Farm
player.
One had the OBM, one had the Ristic Study. Where do you think all those OBMs went?
Straight to those silly little creatures.
All my vampires. All that beautiful charismatic conqueror did all that work.
What would your cradle count have been, Jordan?
I hadn't lost my vampires? Like 13. It's not important.
Yeah, my point.
That's not important.
My point from 2 minutes ago, guys.
God, it would have been so hot, too. I had 3 formidable speakers that had a Spring Heart attached. Could you imagine? That's tapping for 39 mana. Actually, I guess I had to spend one. That actually bit me in the ass. That was one of the many mistakes that we don't mention.
But Gaia's Cradle's not a problem, guys.
It's-
We're expected to believe that.
It's not a problem. If it's a problem, then breach is a problem. That's all I'm saying.
You advocating for an Underworld Breach ban? Or are you advocating for a Bowmasters ban? I'm gonna need you to pick a lane, sir.
It's Bowmaster.
Okay.
Breach is annoying, but manageable. Bowmaster just sucks.
Breach isn't that bad.
Plus, you can't even... The decks that you would even want to run it against for my deck, you can't even do it. Like, I'd love to run against Rockfast, but they have 10 clones, so it doesn't matter. It just gets cloned. Kitten, love to run against Kitten. 20 clones.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. So, like...
And then they hit your board anyways.
Most games I can't even play it, right? Like, it's dead in hand. I've thought about cutting it. The only reason I haven't cut it is for when someone else plays a Bowmaster. At least I have a response to the Bowmaster.
You just replace it with a clone.
I've actually thought about that,
You
legitimately.
do what everybody else in the format does. Replace it with a clone.
Legitimately, I've thought about that.
That's fair.
Just
Fair.
Or a Drake, even.
Steal people's stuff. Kind of powerful.
Like a volatile Storm Drake, especially for how many stacks pieces I'm seeing right now. Yeah. We're getting off topic.
We
But
are. You'd ban Bowmasters.
I'd
That's
ban
where we were.
Bowmasters. So what would you unban?
Jewel Lotus. Easy.
Yeah. That's the easy choice. That's weak.
It is
weak. Lame. Weak.
Malcolm stonks go up. Any high cost commander goes up. Najeela stonks are back up. Not that it's a high cost commander, but single color CMC commander, right? That goes up.
Yeah.
Blue Farm probably runs it, maybe.
Oh, for sure. They ran it before.
Yeah,
Plus, you get access to Chrome a lot faster.
that's true. But we've proven we can exist without it, so that's why it's fringe, but probably.
No, I think you run it. There's just another 0 drop that helps too.
Yeah. Rogthras probably doesn't run it.
No, wait.
I don't think they care.
Rockthras would never.
No.
There's nothing they get off it. We wouldn't run it in TNT.
No.
It helps Tim and I guess a little bit, but like not enough to matter. I think.
That's never TNT's plan A.
Yeah.
Sisse probably tosses it back in. That's probably a staple there.
Sisse, Najeela, Malcolm, Blue Farm, Magda, maybe? I don't know.
Question mark? I feel like slots get tight in that deck.
I don't even remember, like, feels like it was such a long time ago, what decks were running Jewel Lotus and which ones weren't.
Right. It has been a long time.
I don't know. I feel like the meta's in a really good place right now, and the high-cost commanders are still doing the thing.
Are they though?
Yeah, plenty. Tivits are still doing fine. Our buddy just top 16 on Marnius and was number 2 coming out of Swiss, like, doing fine.
That's fair.
Trying to think. I mean, Malcolm decks. Malcolm just top 4 at an event, Royal Rumble. Tim and Crom obviously doing just fine.
It's not about doing just fine. It's about doing better.
Yeah, but I don't know that Jewel Lotus really helps. It'll help like the decks that I think are 3 color, and it'll make some decks a little bit faster. It's still a singleton format, right? And it's still like it just helps get out your. I don't know.
Yeah.
don't
I mean,
know.
when you ran Niv Mizzet, you said that was one of the killers to Niv Mizzet.
It was for sure.
One of. There were several, but
Well,
that contributed.
Yeah, because also losing Dockside was huge.
Exactly.
So
Dockside should not come back.
no.
No.
I don't want to see. So my unban. Honestly, I looked through. I didn't see a lot that I'd actually unban.
That's valid.
I think for one, I like where the format is right now. It's gotten to a pretty healthy place. I think there's a really good tension between the turbo and mid-range decks right now. It's making games really interesting and exciting. And I'm not really, personally, I guess I'm not experiencing a lot of draws.
Okay.
Not saying that other people aren't. I'm just seeing, like, I'm winning and losing a lot, which tells me that, like, the games are, and all the games are really highly competitive. I don't think there was a single loss this weekend that I took that was, like, well, I don't know. The game with double Sisse was kind of frustrating because the one Sisse got out Smothering Tithe turn 2.
Oof.
And that just made the game like super weird. He didn't even win. That was funny.
Yeah.
But like we had to spend too many resources like slowing that down, and then the Kenrith player who had a voice of victory for like 2 turns just untaps and wins. And it's like, what can you really do? Like there's only so much creature removal.
Yeah.
And-
You were seat 4. What were you ever going to do?
Yeah.
Like,
That's not even a turbo game. Not
No.
really. So like
so what would you unban?
Profit and Crew Fix is like the only thing I'd even consider maybe. And I don't even know that that's even that good anymore. Like it's a Seedborn Muse that also flashes in your creatures, so it's like it's good for a deck like mine. It would just replace Seedborn though.
Yeah, no, that
It's like a slightly better Seedborn.
sounds terrible.
But like most decks that could run Seedborn are also cutting Seedborn right now. So it's like
I don't understand that.
Well, because seedborn is such a high value target, like it doesn't last, right? It's one of those things that like it hits the board, and then people freak out about it almost more than anything else. Ristic Study, Smothering Tithe, other value engines get to sit. But Seedborn Muse is the one value engine probably in our format right now that people will not tolerate under any circumstance. And it kind of makes sense because it's a very proactive engine in terms of like, I just get to mine value out.
Yeah.
You can't really play around it in the same way you could with like a Smothering Tithe or a Ristic Study, or a lot of the other value engines. A lot of the more value engines are based on like my opponents doing stuff.
Yeah.
Seedborn is one of the few exceptions where it's not based on my opponents doing stuff. It's based on what I can do with the mana. It's like I get to make the decisions on what cards I see and what cards I keep and how I'm going to spend that mana. And then if I get to add flash on top of that, now I've got even more decisions in my decision pool. So like it's the only one that's like even narrowly. Because either most of the rest of them just don't matter for CEDH. Like they never see play, or they're absolutely bonkers busted.
That's fair.
And they absolutely do not deserve to be banned under any circumstance.
I feel like Prophet Acrufix, though, combines two things that people really don't enjoy in CEDH, though, right? It would likely make the games go on longer, you know?
No, I don't think so. Seedborn is a closer. Seedborn games do not last very long.
And that's another thing, to the point of people cutting Seedborn because it puts a target on your back. That's like advocating cutting ad nause because you have to counter ad nause.
The difference is...
You know what I mean?
The difference is ad nause happens right away. Seedborn still takes a minute. So people can prep it.
But it's your essentially one turn ad nause, right? You see the cards, you're getting the value.
It depends. It depends on what you have set up. It requires a certain type of board.
I'm assuming at least Thrasios, right? You're seeing the cards, you're cycling, you're doing the thing.
Right, but like let's say it's a world where I have Thrasios Seedborn. That's and 4 lands. Like I'm seeing a card a turn. That's a worse rate than most Ristic Studies.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? So like,
but it's never just that.
Well, that's not true. There's been plenty
That's
of times.
the magical fairy Christmas land where maybe you've been blown out already, you know, but it's rarely just Thrasios and 4 lands.
I've had plenty of those games. Because like Seedborn was all I had at a certain point, so it was just like we'll cast it and we'll see where we're at. And part of it also lets me kind of play a little bit more of a control hand where I can be a little bit more reactive. I don't have to necessarily push too hard on my turn because I can pass turn, holding up all my interaction. I know I'll get to the untap. It's also one of my key politicking tools for keeping that piece around is, hey, you can remove it, sure, but then, then you're on your own and whatever happens, happens. That's up to you. Can you beat them by yourself? Because I got interaction.
And then they lose to you a rotation later.
Well, I mean, somebody's got to win.
You don't talk about that.
Somebody's got to win the game, right?
I feel like Prophet Acrufix also enabling Flash is problematic.
Only on creatures.
Only on creatures.
Only on creatures.
So it's,
I believe,
anti-High Fae Trickster.
it's the opposite of High Fae Trickster.
Okay, got it.
It's actually more the opposite of Valley Flood Caller.
Okay, slightly less problematic, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I find Flash is one of those things that creates your 30 card stack battles. It enables Ristic Study BS. It enables Smothering Tithe BS.
It can, for sure.
When people advocate for banning Ristic or Smothering Tithe, it's like take a look at the Flash engines that make those so problematic on other people's turns.
It creates massive windows for decks to finish. Like
It does.
I think every deck would play it that could because it's that good.
Yes. I don't think we necessarily need that in CEDH right now.
Yeah, like I said, I was looking at it. There wasn't a lot that I was like a big proponent of because like I hated the old mana crypt play pattern. I actually think crypt should be gone forever.
Oh, Crypt was my 2. If you took J-Lo, Crypt was my 2.
No, I mean, because literally, if you remember, like old school CDH, that was the first thing you'd fetch up every single time, without fail. It enabled the game to go like almost too fast at times for certain decks to ever really play properly. That's why like Rogside was so dominant, the Dark Rog build. And like, yeah, Dockside was a hit for them, but I think Crypt almost in some ways was worse.
Interesting.
In some ways. But I don't know. I sucked during that time, so.
We'll see what happens in a week. Is it 7 days now? 6 days now?
9th. It's the 9th, so 6 days.
6 days from now. Okay.
Yep. We'll see what the committee has in store for us.
Yep.
Hopefully good things. All right. Now that we've taken a really long icebreaker, want to get into the bulk of our discussion today. And it's been in kind of the CEDH news. We broke containment. It was all over the Twitter sphere. Even made my news feed, which was kind of crazy, of a player in our space apologizing for lying. And it kind of, and you'll see a lot of people have actually been talking about it. And it's really a good discussion to have of what is the etiquette at the table when you're playing, right? There is a quote unquote social contract. And then there's the other side of that coin, which is we're here to win and we're here to make money doing it.
Right.
In theory, or clout, or whatever it is that you care about.
Hopefully money.
And in those, so there is kind of that gamemanship of I'm here to win versus the sportsmanship of I'm going to do it in the way that I think creates the least amount of enemies. And CEDH is a unique game from that perspective because you have to make alliances at the table. And if you're shown to be an untrustworthy person over time, it's like I think a random can come in and spike a tournament by lying their ass off, and it's fine.
For sure.
They'll get away with it. It's not fine, right? But they'll get away with it. And if no one knows who they are and they never show back up to another tournament, who cares?
I'm sure that happens more often than we know about, right?
Probably. But the problem is if you have any amount of reputation whatsoever, and you then become known as a liar, and right, like if your goal is to play a bunch of tournaments, people are going to get to know who you are. They're going to recognize your face. Even if you change your name on top like 1,000 times, I'm still going to know who you are.
Right.
I'm not going to forget your face.
Right.
If you lie to me, I know who you are. So like, if I know that you're not trustworthy in a game where I have to make an alliance with you, I feel like you're just hurting yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot for any future deals that ever come up. And if the community as a whole knows who you are,
right,
then it becomes even worse. So anyone with any semblance of reputation that goes around lying all the time is, I think, hampering them in the long run. Sure, you can do it. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't. I guess I fail to see how that would be successful over the long term.
That's fair. I feel like a lot of it has to be, and I'm purely speculating here, it has to be not thinking about the long term, right?
Yeah.
You aren't thinking about the long-term consequences. You're thinking about this tournament, this round, maybe this play that you're making, right? And you don't have the foresight right in that moment in the heat of the game to say, man, this can kill my reputation long term. Man,
Yeah.
I'm going to see these people again. I'm going to see this play group again. I might come to this venue again, what have you.
Yeah.
So part of it is that, but I feel like part of it is also some discourse that we saw as well, where some people are pushing back on the idea of a social contract in CEDH.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's just wrong though, because you have to make alliances. If I can't trust you to hold to your word during tense moments in the game where we otherwise lose, then we're just going to lose, right? Like if you make a deal with me and I know you're going to lie about it because you have a history of lying, then there's no deal to be made.
That's true.
So in that situation, I have to make, in theory, a less optimal play to ensure that I don't lose to you lying to me, but also still trying to survive whatever we're having to make a deal over, right? Whether it's like, someone else is gunning for a win and you have a counter spell, but we're making some kind of deal where it's like, sure, I'll go after this person, but you can't win on your turn. Like I get to see a turn. But if that person I know is a liar, then I might just say, well, screw it. I'm just going to let them win because I know you're not going to hold to your word. So I'm going to lose either way.
Yeah.
Right. So in some ways, you almost lower, I think, your ability to win long term. Like I truly believe that. It's not the reason I choose not to lie. I just don't think I need to. I find plenty of ways to win without ever needing to lie. And we don't want to get too caught up in this intro part because kind of what we want to talk about today is not whether or not you should lie. I mean, I think you shouldn't. But, at the end of the day, players are going to make the decisions they feel is best for them. What we want to teach you guys instead is how to survive the liars, how to survive the deal makers, basically how to make a deal and then not get screwed by said deal, and then how to deal with aggressive politicking, because I've seen that a lot more lately as well. And I think it's a struggle for most players to be in that situation, kind of handle the heat's probably not the right word, but there's a lot of pressure, I think, in those moments. Players start rushing you, coming after you, how you can kind of hold your own when those situations arise and make the optimal plays while still kind of under the gun, so to speak. So I think that's where we kind of want to focus in on. So starting with liars. Lily, how do you think you survive liars?
I think we survive liars. A common thing that I hear is don't put yourself in a position to be lied to. And I think that statement is a little bit too simple on its face, right?
Yeah.
Because game states are never that simple. Board states are never that simple. And a 4-player dynamic game is rarely ever comes down to don't put yourself in a position to be lied to.
Yeah.
At a certain point, right, there is a push and pull where one person is attempting to win or one person is pulling very far ahead and rocketing towards a win, and it becomes a 3v1. And in some respects, depending on what deck you play, but for the most part, you all begin to rely on each other to deal with the threats on the table. So
Yeah.
saying don't put yourself in a position to be lied to isn't quite that easy. But I think the whole point of that statement, right, is understand that you still need to be able to take your game actions and further your game state regardless of whether or not you were lied to.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe it's countering the spell that would win the game and understanding that you may lose to, you know, player C that said, oh, I don't have anything. And they could be lying about not having anything. But understanding that in that moment, countering that game-winning spell is still your highest odds of getting another turn, of, you know, maybe drawing more cards if you have a heuristic study, or the ability to accrue card advantage in some way. It's understanding that you still have to put yourself in the best position and take your game actions regardless of what other people at the table are telling you. So I think step one to kind of dealing with liars is accruing your own resources and not getting so caught up in what other people have to say about how you should handle the board state.
Yeah.
It's really comes down to TLDR, play your own game.
Yeah, I can agree with that to a certain degree. I've counseled some of the people I've coached kind of on similar terms where it's like, you know, don't put yourself in a position to be lied to. And the way I've always taken that to mean, and the way I kind of teach it to people is it's not even don't put yourself in a position to be lied to. It's more minimize the consequences of being lied to. Right. So don't put yourself in a position where if you're lied to, you just instantly lose, right? That's not where you want to be. But if you can put yourself in a position where, okay, I get lied to, meaning I have to use an extra counter spell. Like, it sucks, but it's also not devastating to everything you're doing. Or it's like, someone lies to me and I lose a creature that was important to my game plan, but it doesn't stop me from winning the game, right? That's where I always come down to it is, if I make a deal with you and you break that deal, does that instantly lead to you winning the game? Then we got to have some kind of, you know, something in place that's going to stop you from doing that, right?
But they're lying.
Well,
So
you can push back on that, though.
I was going to say, that's why that logic doesn't always work.
Well, you can push back on that to a certain degree, right? So, like, if someone is... So, here's, like, a good example, right? Had a buddy they had an incident this past weekend where the Vivi player said they would... You know, they were going to cast Curiosity... somebody had, I think it was a Talon Gates to phase out the Vivi, and the Vivi player was like, oh, okay, well, like, you have me stopped. I won't cast any more spells if you let the Curiosity resolve, I think it was what it was, or something like that.
Okay.
And I think that's what it was. Curiosity on the stack, targeting Vivi. Somebody had Talon Gates. The guy's like, oh, well, don't do that. I want you to save that. You know, like, I'm just going to pass turn if the Curiosity resolves. If I remember correctly, they just started casting Instance. And immediately won. Okay. Right? So, like, that's a position where it's like, okay, what are the odds, right, that they're going to lie to me in this situation? What does that look like? If they lie, they just start storming off and winning, right? If they think that they can get away with it, they're going to get away with it. So that's the first thing I need to be thinking. In those situations, if you think the player across from you might just lie to you, you can talk to the player that's causing the situation to occur, or, like, the player they're worried about, and be like, look, I'm not certain I can trust this person. I'd rather Talon gets us out and not immediately lose to you. Are you willing to have a discussion around that? Because I don't trust. I'd rather just not immediately lose here. Like, are you willing to show me your hand? Are we willing to have some kind of discussion? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But at least it doesn't put you in a position where you're instantly losing. You never really know what someone has in hand. They could draw 15 cards and they still might not have had a win. You never know.
That's true.
Right? I've seen Blue Farms draw a bunch of cards and somehow they didn't have win. I don't know how, because Blue Farm, but like
I said before, it's the value half of Blue Farm, not the gas half of Blue Farm. Shit happens.
Right. So like you can always kind of assume people are winning based on like just the math of the equation, right? Like how many cards have they drawn versus the cards in deck versus likelihood of, finding the right cards, right?
Right.
It's quick math. It's easy to do, but it also tells you, unless it's you, of course.
Uncalled for.
It was a cheap joke, but it was there.
For.
It was like low hanging fruit. Boop.
Okay. Okay.
But like in those situations, you can kind of guess that it's like, okay, probably like 30 or 40% chance that they're sitting on what they need. Mm-hmm. But that's still a better percentage odds than homie lying about you're not talengating and then just instantly winning, right? Like, if I'm gonna roll if I feel like I could be lied to here, I'm gonna roll the dice on a situation like that. And like personally, guys, for deals like that, for me, I just don't make those kind of deals usually. And if I do, I usually make it with someone that I feel like I can trust, that I know really well, who I know would never lie to me. I've still been burned once or twice by people I thought I could trust. It happens.
Yeah.
You take those on the chin. But the best advice I can give you guys. So lying is becoming, as we saw with that tweet, lying is now becoming, I wouldn't say it's becoming more mainstream, but it is seemingly there's a bigger group than expected that seems okay with it as a piece. And a lot of people think, oh, well, the top players are lying all the time anyway.
No, it's prevalent everywhere.
Yeah.
Across the ELO board, across top deck points, whatever metric you want to use, it's prevalent everywhere.
Yeah. And you don't need to lie. Like, I guess that's the issue I come back to. Mm-hmm. There's so many politicking tools at your disposal. Mm-hmm. You can come right up to the line of lying without ever needing to lie, right? You can squirrel the crap out of your words to where it's like, I said one thing, you interpret it that way, and it means an entirely different thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can do that.
I mean, you can.
It's not lying.
You may get called a liar for it, depending on what the squirrel is. People don't take kindly to that in games.
Well, if you do it correctly, it should be not a lie, right? Like I've said one time, showed a ranger captain, everyone was fighting for draw. We were all trying to fight the Niv on the stack. Mm-hmm. I show everyone a Born and a ranger captain, said, what do you guys think? And everyone goes, oh yeah, absolutely. I'm like, cool. I'm like, Born, and I put ranger captain on the stack, and I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to end this game. And everyone's like, yep, we're cool. We're on board with that. No one ever asked me if I was drawing. Never asked. As soon as that ranger captain cracked, one guy said, all right, we get a draw. And I was like, I never said I was drawing, guys. You never asked. Had someone asked, are we drawing? I would have been honest and said, I'm going to try to do what I can here. I don't think anyone could have stopped me anyway. To be honest, I don't think anyone had a chance.
I'm going to try to do what I can here equals I'm winning the... That's still not.
You don't have to admit to shit. Just because you ask me a question does not mean I have to answer it in a way that gives you information.
This is the podcast about lying.
I'm not lying. I'm not giving away, but I'm not going to give away free information either. That's what I'm saying. There's tools and techniques at your disposal to where you don't have to lie. Mm-hmm. I don't need to say overtly, I'm not winning the game when I'm sitting on my win attempt. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to win now. And everyone's like, you said you wouldn't win. Sucks, guys. Sucks to suck. I don't know what to tell you. Instead, you can say something along the lines of, I can't win right this second, or I'm waiting for a moment. I'm not really, I'm not in a position I feel like to win right this second. Mm-hmm. It's not a lie. If you feel like you can't beat the counter magic, you're not in a position to win. Mm-hmm. You're just not, like, objectively. Not saying I don't have the cards in hand. Not saying I can't win. I'm saying I'm not in the position to do so.
That's fair.
Right? Like, there's very carefully worded sentences that you can think through. And I also caution people when you're talking, really listening to what someone's saying and really be open to what that interpretation of that could mean. Because that's how, we're going to go into it in a second here, that's how you can find the little loopholes in a deal that's being made, mm-hmm. right? The little areas, the little gray areas that people are going to operate out of, because that's going to be okay. Right? That's part of the gamesmanship of the game itself, mm-hmm. right? The bluffing and the strategy rather than the outright lie to your face, because I know, like, I would never outright lie to you, right? Mm-hmm. Why you give me a look like that? I feel like you're... Like, I don't know about
I
that.
don't know about that.
You're still salty from this weekend. I know. It's
I mean,
I didn't lie. She thinks I did, but I didn't. She actually doesn't think I did. We had a misunderstanding in the game.
yeah. It as happens when Jordan and I play each other, which is why we hate playing each other.
Yeah,
This is not the first time a misunderstanding has happened, and it will likely not be the last.
Yeah, because what I said was there was a Magda player, and the Magda player had made a deal with the Jaws player, which is crazy, by the way. I'm shocked to see that deck in a CEDH event. It's kind of cool, though. It stopped the Magda, which is funny. But he started doing the Clock of Omens combo, and he had 3 Clock of Omens attempts while Lily was trying to win on the stack. And at some point I was asked, was I just going to win over top? And I said, I'm good to draw as long as the Magda Clock of Omens stuff is on the stack and it's good to go. And
I screwed up by removing the Magda at a point where I believed I could no longer win the game because I saw certain cards exiled to a Demcon. We talked about it after the fact. There was an out. To my knowledge at the time, there was not an out. So
like 3 outs, actually.
When I chained the Magda, I was planning on drawing after that. And then Jordan immediately won on top. And so from my perspective, it's like, before I cast the Demcon, I said, hey, you're still okay to draw, right? Before I rip apart my library, draw is still on the table. Or do we need to, I even need to go through this Demcon, right?
And I said, I'm good as long as I'm good to hold to what I said. I think is what I said. And I was confused. I thought Lily was still pushing win when she chained.
Yeah. So I was ready to take a draw at that point. And like I said, I had more outs than I thought. But from that perspective, from my perspective at the time, I was just kind of ready to call it because I think you guys had me stopped anyways, regardless of the chain. So it was, it was a moot point by that point from my perspective.
No, not because of the chain. The chain was stopping me. If you don't cast the chain, the game isn't a draw, 100%.
Yeah, and so that's where I screwed up. Yeah. I should have just not cast the chain, held it, and said, "Hey, we're cool here."
Yeah, because if I was going to go back on my word, I'd just have deadly rocked the Magda like super early. So I was sitting on a Magda. I was sitting on the rock the whole time. But as long as you were holding the chain, there was I couldn't push anyway. So I was like, yeah, I'm good to draw like at any time.
And that's why I advocate for not squirreling your words as much. Because of situations like that.
But it wasn't, even in that situation, it wasn't a squirrel, right? I was like, as long as Magda's stuff is good.
Right, but then it's like Magda's gone, gotcha. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're the one who made that mistake, not me. I don't feel bad about that at all. I won't even lie. I don't feel bad at all.
I know you don't.
I was very clear. My words, that was actually
very clear.
That was one of the few times where my words were extremely clear. As long as the Magda untaps are on the stack and it can do its thing. Because
the Magda untaps were on the stack.
Magda was gone. They were not on the stack. That is not. We all knew. No. I was good with Chad making his infinite treasures and we drew all the game. As he and the other Jaws player made that deal, I trust Chad. He's an awesome dude. He's going to hold to that deal if he makes infinite treasures. You bouncing it was like, okay, well now what is holding us to a draw anymore? You know what I mean? There's nothing other than you saying you might want to draw at some point after you've looked at your library and after you've done all your stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Nonetheless, don't squirrel your words, folks.
No, squirrel your words. Don't listen to Lily. So these are, like you can see here, I left myself an out. We're actually going to get into that in just a sec here. But for lying, just be really careful with it. Assume everyone's going to lie to you. That's the biggest takeaway you can take from this part. How to survive lying? Assume everyone's going to lie to you. Unless you absolutely know that person and you trust them 1,000%, they've never lied to you, they're the most honest player in the world, sure, right? But even then, still be a little suspicious. I'm still a little suspicious of Lily. I don't think Lily would ever lie to me, but you never know when $10,000 on the line. And Lily really wants to win it over me.
I wouldn't lie to you.
No, you just kill all my stuff or something.
I'd bowmaster you.
I know. So in those situations, right, just don't put yourself in a position where the lying is going to be catastrophic, right? If you can minimize the damage that lying does, if you can get them to show cards, do whatever you can to make sure that you're minimizing the damage that they do and that you can minimize the chance that they're going to lie to you. That's really the hard part, right? So if you think like someone's holding interaction, be like, look, bro, I'm willing to counter this, but like I got to see hand, right? Like I need to see that you're not just sandbagging interaction this whole game. And if you're not willing to show this, then I'm just going to pass. Like sometimes you have to be ready to lose if someone is going to play at that level, right? You just have to be willing to lose. And if people get to realize the consequences of, hey, if I'm going to play a certain way, I'm just going to lose all the time, they'll stop playing like that. But you have to be willing to accept that sometimes that's going to lead you to losing games.
Yeah, that's a point I was going to make as well. I know we've kind of talked about a lot of people play to not lose than to win, right? But sometimes if you think somebody is lying to you, or if you have a known liar in your pod, somebody that's lied to your play group or somebody else previously, sometimes you just have to be willing to either A, ask for their hand, and if they refuse and if you think they're lying to you, sometimes you just have to be willing to stand on business and say pass priority with the force of will in your hand.
Yeah.
And just let the necro ride, let whatever it is ride, and the game is the game at that point, right?
Yeah, like if I say, show me your hand or I'm not counting this, and you don't show me your hand, I'm going to hold to that. I'm not just going to all of a sudden wimp out at the end and be like, oh, okay, I'll counter it. No.
Yeah.
Like, buddy, we can both play the bully. We can both play the priority bully game.
We will both lose right now.
I have 90 some losses in my record. What's one more?
Exactly, right? Especially in 6-7 round tournaments.
Plenty of rounds.
On to the next one.
Plenty of rounds.
Unless it's your winning in, then I'm so sorry.
Hey, sometimes you do what you got to do.
But for the most part, on to the next one.
I mean, in all seriousness, right? I feel like a lot of people are going to take this video away and be like, oh my God, I should never play in a tournament. I'm going to see liars all the time. Guys, I've been lied to like 4 times in like 60 tournaments. Like it happens, but
right.
At least 4 that I know of. 4 that were so bad that I remember them.
Right.
If I got lied to a bunch of micro times, it's obviously not affecting my record too much.
That's the thing. For the most part, especially when you're losing, people are willing to be reasonable.
Yeah.
There comes a time where there is a table consensus of, oh crap, that's a problem. Oh, yep, that's an underworld breach. Okay, cards on the table. This is what I've got. You know, for the most part, people will be reasonable. But when they're not, that's what this advice is for.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you're almost a team until you're not a team.
Exactly.
And I've heard some people call this like prisoner's dilemma. The issue with the prisoner's dilemma dichotomy, I guess, is it's not necessary. Because the idea of the prisoner's dilemma is there's an optimal outcome for all parties. Mm-hmm. There's no optimal outcome for all parties in CEDH. No. There's only one optimal outcome
for one player.
Or
y'all draw.
I guess like during the game, you could say there's a series of like micro outcomes, right. But even then, there's still someone that loses in that decision.
And there's somebody that wins and loses in interaction battles.
Well, it's not even that, right? If you have a player winning, and then there's like a prisoner's dilemma of like, oh, I could stop this player, or we could come to like some mutual outcome. But like, there's no mutual outcome. The player winning kind of loses everything, and the other two gain everything.
Right.
I don't know that the analogy necessarily works, but it's close. So like, whatever, right? All right. So that leads us into deal making and how to survive the gnarly deals that happen in CEDH. You'll see them all the time. People will make some pretty batshit crazy deals. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys.
And sometimes people should make deals and they don't,
which
is also equally batshit.
Yeah. I mean, what? Some people have made deals where they lose. Like, I'm agreeing to lose. That's a crazy deal. Mm-hmm. Never make a deal where it leads to you losing. Always. I don't care what the deal is. I don't care what they say to you. Always say, if you start to win or the situation occurs to where it leads to you winning, I reserve the right to change the deal to not lose the game. If they're not willing to accept that, no deal. Instant no deal.
Right.
Like, bro, you can't expect me to make a deal that loses me the game. Like, that's dumb. Mm-hmm. That's so stupid. So if you leave yourself that out every single time, you will never get got by a deal. Because then it leaves you, like, literally every wiggle room under the world. What is winning? I mean...
Please stop. I can't.
We would... Obviously, you'd want to honor the spirit of the deal, right? You're not going to, like, break a deal unless someone's, actually pushing a win attempt. Mm-hmm. But if you wanted to be, and you wanted to squirrel it, what is winning? It's ambiguous. Deals can be ambiguous. Don't fall for an ambiguous deal, guys. That's going to be our biggest takeaway here. Mm-hmm. Make sure, like, if you make a deal with someone, repeat it back to them, word for word. Shake on it. Look them in the eyes and shake on it. Mm-hmm. You'll be shocked how often people are less likely to lie to you or break the deal if you have shaken on it and you have looked them in the eyes. They might still do it. Some people are devious, but it's the best thing you got. Like, it's going to happen. Someone's going to break a deal. But if you do them right and you leave yourself wiggle room and you also don't back yourself into a corner where the deal like is so bad for you that like it's not immediately losing you the game, but it's definitely going to lead to you losing in the long run. Just don't make it. Like, suffer whatever the immediate consequences are, right? Like, if someone makes a deal and they're like, oh, well, I won't use my counterspell, but you can't, or I'll use my counterspell, but you can't blow up my board for a turn. Counteroffer. Just counteroffer and say, I'm willing to make that deal as long as you don't cast, dangerous creature number 1, 2, or 3, and if it leads to you winning, I reserve the right to start removing your board. I think that's mostly fair. Like, I'm not going to so like for my deck, for example, right? If I say, I'm willing to counter this, but you can't target me with your OBM for a full rotation. And one of my creatures is Devoted Druid. And you agree to that deal. And then on my turn, I put a Swift on the stack targeting my Devoted Druid. And the only thing anyone has is I can cast 2 spells to draw that guy 2 Ristic Study draws to trigger your Bowmaster twice. And I go, you can't do that. We had a deal. Well, that's a ridiculous deal. That is an absolute...
I see people get backed into those corners all the time now.
Absolutely. But it's a ridiculous deal.
Right.
I now am not allowed to kill your creature that is actively winning you the game.
Right.
No, if you leave yourself the wiggle room of, I reserve the right to change the deal if you start trying to win, the deal is null and void if you start trying to win. If you put a win attempt on the stack, deal is null and void.
Right.
Then you, in that situation, goodbye Devoted Druid, get fucked, bitch, right? Like...
Buy your favorite card.
It's I've actually had these happen before. That's how I know. Like, I'm living it from experience here. I was the devoted player. We didn't have that kind of deal. We had a deal that was, I think he wouldn't kill my Aboro Breeze Scholar.
Oh.
Because...
Why would he make that? No.
Because we had to untap a Cradle.
Aboro needs to die.
No, because I had to cast Aboro, and I was like, look, the only thing I can do here to stop someone from winning is cast Aboro, untap a Cradle that was tapped for something else. Because I think I had to do it for a Thrasios activation.
Sure.
And that was it would give us exactly enough green mana to cast Aven Interrupter.
That's when you ran that silly card.
Stacks out a known breach card in someone's hand. It was like the only thing we could do.
Okay.
And so I said, okay, I'm willing to do that, but no one can touch my Breeze Caller for a whole turn. Like, at my next end step, y'all can kill Breeze Caller. And the guy thought about it for a second. He's like, okay, I'll take that deal. And I was like, oh, that's sick. And then went to my turn and I started winning and the guy let it go. And then at the end of the game, the one dude was like, why didn't you bounce it? And he's like, I made a deal I wouldn't get rid of it. Technically, he made a deal he wouldn't kill it. So that was already crazy. But
way too literal of interpretation.
But also, like, I never asked that. I would have been like, brother, you do you.
Yeah.
But like, I've had deals in the past where I made a deal with someone early on in my career. I remember this. Because I don't even remember all the individuals involved. I think Kellen was in the pod. That's all I remember. And I wish I remember who it was, but I'd made a deal that I wouldn't kill somebody with a Bowmaster army.
Okay.
And it went to this player's end step, and then the player I'd made a deal with tried to win on top in that turn. But it had to get rolled back, because this was only like my second or third tournament. Like, I have not been playing very long. Because there was a Ranger Captain crack. So he couldn't do all the stuff he tried to do on that end step.
Oh.
So I had to get rolled back.
Okay.
Went to my turn, and I'm like, well, now I know you have a win attempt. Like, you showed it.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm supposed to not kill you and let you go to your turn and win?
Yeah.
Like, that seems weird.
Right.
So I killed him. I didn't know. The rules said I couldn't king make.
The rules said I couldn't king.
So I was literally
I remember that.
Yeah, the rules literally
rules of that specific tournament, right?
Rules literally said you cannot king make.
Where was? Oh, you've told this story before. Where was that?
But if I don't kill you, then I king make you. So
That's
I was
gonna
like,
bother me. What tournament was that?
It was an AGL event, I think.
It was AGL.
And I was sitting there.
remember
It was a
that.
miserable tournament for me.
I remember
That's the one where I got
that.
screwed by the horrible judge call.
Yeah.
That stopped me from top 16ing the main event.
That was one part of you being fed up with Magic for a time.
Yeah.
Which
I had to take a break after that. That was
Yeah.
a really bad tournament for me.
we'll talk about that in the questions portion, but
Oh, no.
Jordan does get burnt out, guys.
So that was like one of those situations where, like, had I just worded the deal a little bit better, like, oh, well, hey, if you try to win, obviously this deal's like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, if you cast an ad naz and
If I figure,
you try to win the game, I'm going to kill you.
If something happens between now and when we make this deal and your turn, that makes me think I need to kill you, I'm just going to kill you.
Right.
So I guess the key takeaway is just don't back yourself into a corner with deals. Leave yourself an out. Leave yourself wiggle room. Like my deal with Lily. Great example. I left myself plenty of wiggle room. You bounce Magda, I'm going to go for win. The only way for Lily to continue to go for win was to bounce Magda. I don't think you had really another option at that point. Really it was, if you really think about the deal there, the deal was, I'm good to draw as long as you don't keep trying to push a win. But you kept trying to push a win. Like, if you actually, like, take away all the details of the game, that's what the fundamental deal was. If you stop pushing and his activations are still good to where he would win otherwise, then I'm good to draw because I have no other way to push my own win. But you using your last piece of interaction, knowing both mono red players have jack shit for my win attempt.
That was such a cursed pod. Such a cursed pod.
And I'm so, at that point, I'm like, okay, you did what you're going to do. Now it's my turn. Like, that's what the deal, if you think about it, was actually. But and that's what you're saying, you remove the shell of it, the wrapper, so to speak, the colorful candy coated wrapping
of Jordan yapping. Yeah.
I mean, if you take away like that, the noise and the lights and the flashy little sounds, the reality was that was our deal. Right. And I think if you boil down most CEDH deals and you take away all the details and you just think about like what at its core is the nature of this deal, right? So like if I do this thing, then you won't win. That's like the nature of most deals.
That is.
If I don't do this thing, I get to see my entire turn without, with a library and everything else.
That's another common one.
Right? So like and those are like I think that's the reality of most deals. And I think people just get really lost in the detail of it all.
That's fair, but I also think sometimes people can benefit from being more explicit.
Oh, for sure.
Right? So in the case of your Bowmaster situation, right, you could have been more explicit and said, hey, if you put a win attempt on the stack, if you add Nas, if you do whatever, I reserved the right to kill you with this orc army. Or if you reveal information, if you tutor something, I'm going to kill you still. And some people try to skirt the line, and in trying to skirt the line, they end up walking themselves into an almost worse deal, right?
For sure.
Or another one that really gets me is when people do the whole, don't win on your turn, and then somebody agrees to it. They don't win on their turn, and then the awkward part comes in where it's either close to time, at time, right? And you're staring at the win in your hand, and everyone's like, well, draw. This person said they wouldn't win on their turn, and you're staring at the win like, I really backed myself into a corner here, know? I could go for it and break the spirit of the deal. So I believe it was Forest Fight a couple weekends ago where we had an interesting dilemma. So it was Blue Farm, so Blue Farm, Sisse, Blue Farm, Marnius. You already know who the Marnius was. You already know it was Boomer. And I think I talked about this game on a previous podcast, but I had raced ahead. I missed my window. It got to a point where we're looking at time, and the Sisse player said, well, if I cast this pact and I stop that Blue Farm player, I want an untap. And they're far and away winning the game, right? They had all the mana, all the activations up. If they get to untap on their turn, they are winning that game, right? But it was either that or the Blue Farm player wins right there. So Michael and I took the deal because both of us were kind of set up to do the win on top thing,
right.
And Michael accrued a bunch of value and cast a bunch of creatures to where it was obvious to what he was going to do on the Sisse player's turn. And it got to my turn, and I looked at the clock, and I believe there's maybe 5 minutes left. And at that point, I tried to launch a Toxic Deluge to both ensure Sisay doesn't win and ensure Michael can't go on top right then and there because of the deal they made with Sisay and because it was still my turn, and trying to give myself my best window to then go on top.
Gotcha.
But there's only 5 minutes left. And the Deluge cracks open the stack war, right? That Deluge turned into a 30-plus spell stack. And there was a point where I'm looking at the Born and the Win in my hand, and I looked at the Sisay player with a minute or two left maybe, and I said, hey, I know the spirit of our deal, and I know what you said, and I'm not going to look at you and lie to your face, and I'm not going to break a deal, and I'll take a draw right here if that's what we're going to do, but I have the ability to push a win right now on top of this whole Deluge stack. And it got to a point of us having a conversation where it was like, well, you've got to do what you've got to do. We're already near time.
Yeah.
I backed myself into a corner with that. Maybe I should have looked at the clock before I fired my pact or whatever I fired. So you do what you've got to do. And there were 30 more spells on the stack over my Born. We ended up drawing that game, as one does in a Marnius pod, honestly. A Marnius double blue farm pod, that. I could have told you that was a draw 80 minutes ago. But the point of that whole thing is somebody walked themselves into a deal, said, I want an untap, right? But because things changed and because it wasn't as simple as I want an untap and I had the ability to push on the stack due to time, it wasn't so much that I wanted to break the deal or that we shouldn't have made the deal. It was more the terms of the game state changed.
So, like, in the future, making a deal where you're like, okay, well, if it's like we're at time, even if it's my turn, I reserve the right to push a win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's because no one would expect you to be like, I'm going to take a deal, unless you're explicitly saying, I'm going to take a deal to draw this game because of whatever the circumstances were. I don't think most players would take a deal where there's plenty of time left and they think they've got a chance to win still.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to, like, okay, well, let's take draw. Unless it's obvious, like, the game's going to end in a draw. But
I think a draw was bad for everybody at that point as well.
Oh,
it was round 4, and it just kind of...
Yeah, like, why?
What's the point in round 4 of a 5-round tournament, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a point where maybe we should have clarified with the Sisay player more of like, hey, you know, this blue farm stack battle's getting really bad. The terms of the deal are going to change if either of us are looking at time, right? But that's not what happened.
I think it's just...
It goes back to clarity, right? Of clarifying what's going to happen.
Well, and being explicit. And I think you don't have to accept the terms of the first deal you're offered. You can negotiate. I mean, deals are negotiations, right? So you can say, you know, this is what I'd want out of it. And if they're not willing to give it to you, well, then don't take the deal. Like, you don't have to take a deal that's bad.
Right.
I think too many players are like quick to jump at a deal that's like kind of good for them, but like mostly bad.
Or just bad, period.
Well, yeah. And I think a lot of players get walked into those deals.
They do.
By really good politicking or sometimes just really aggressive politicking, which we're going to talk about. But
that's next.
But I think when you're making a deal, for one, be really explicit with the deal. One thing you can also say, I've actually seen Zeke do this a few times, and I think it's really smart. But he says, look, are you going to honor the spirit of our deal, or do I have to get like super explicit with my wording here? Like, can we at least agree we both know what we're saying here? Or do I have to be like, measure every single part of this deal out?
Yeah.
And if people are like, no, like, I know what you're trying to say, I'm good with the spirit of our deal, then you don't have to worry about being super explicit. Like, we both, like, if I make a deal with you and I say, yeah, I'm going to let you, I'm going to, if you counter this, you get a turn, right? But like, I get to go first, and I go to my turn, I do an underworld breach, I brain freeze you out, I pass turn, right? Like,
nonsense.
That's not the
spirit of the deal, right?
So you can say something like this, someone be like, we both know what I'm trying to say here. We both know the spirit of this deal. I want a full turn, a real turn, not one where my library's gone and you have 100 counter spells in hand. A real turn where you didn't push your win attempt. Like, do I have to get explicit about that? Or do we both know what I'm trying to say here?
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. I've seen Zeke do it a few times, and I think it's really good because it gives people almost no wiggle room. Right? Because then they're like, oh, well, you didn't say the magic word in the right order.
God, I hate that.
right? But it's
I
like,
hate that style of politicking so
right.
much.
But if you kind of wrap it into that, where it's like hey, like we both know what I'm trying to say here. Like, are we good, or are you just gonna screw me on some stupid loophole I'm not thinking of?
Yep.
And they say, okay, I'm not gonna do that.
Yep.
What's the wiggle room? Right? Like literally, what is the wiggle room at that point?
That's true.
I've already said I'm not gonna screw you on some stupid loophole. We both know the spirit of this. Unless you're gonna try and argue.
Unless they lie to you.
Well, that's
Right.
different, right? So here's the difference, right? Breaking a deal and then having a deal break you is different.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
If you walked into a bad deal because you didn't think about what you were agreeing to, because you didn't, examine all the parameters of the deal, or examine like the loopholes, or didn't think about what that actually meant in the moment. So like my deal with Waffle, right? That I know a lot of people have really examined, and I'm still on the fence about a lot of that game, and it's fine. I'm not going to get into that. But the deal we had was, never super explicit. I never actually said the words, you have to make a bowmaster.
And that's where being explicit comes in, right?
He made a devoted druid.
Yep.
He said, he's going to kill my board. We made the deal. He wouldn't kill my board. He didn't kill my board. He just won.
Yeah.
Technically.
And to be fair,
Wow.
that's some squirrely shenanigans you advocate for.
I got by my own strategy, right?
Exactly.
That happens.
It happens.
So, but if I had said, we both know what's going here, like, you're going to make a bowmaster, right? Like, we don't have to be stupid about this. I don't have to kill my devoted druid. Mm-hmm. Like, are we agreeing to that, or are you trying to get one over on me? Because then it's like, if you're going to put yourself in a position where you're just going to lie to me.
Then that's a whole different issue, right?
And also, I just could have killed my devoted druid. That way, if he does lie to me, again, talk about what we did before, right?
Right.
Don't put yourself in a position where if someone does lie to you. But I never specifically said, you can't clone my devoted druid.
Right.
You know what I mean? I never said what you had to
And
clone.
you never killed it.
No.
You never thought to kill it.
No, I thought to kill it. I did think to kill it. But I thought...
didn't kill it.
I thought we had more of an understanding than we did.
Yeah. It happens.
That's on me.
It'd be that way.
So, in these situations, right, when you're just accepting the deal, just be really careful. Think about all the wording of it. Think about also what they're getting out of the deal. If they're willing to make a deal with you, they're getting something. Even if you can't see what it is, they're winning the deal. Whoever's offering the deal is usually winning the deal. So what you have to do is when someone offers you a deal, especially if they're more experienced, especially if you know that they're kind of a known person or they've been around the block, when they offer you a deal, really think through it. Mm-hmm. Guarantee you, I know from experience, I know when I've offered deals, it's not good for you. Mm-hmm. I promise you it's not good for you. Mm-hmm. Make me work for it. Throw it back in my face. I'm probably going to hurt my win rate. But I'm telling you guys, do it. Do it. It's good for y'all. It's good for y'all.
And also, right?
Make me retire because you guys beat me to pulp.
if you feel like, let's say Jordan's player A, right? If you feel like Jordan's being unreasonable, he's player A, he's trying to win. Or no, he's player A, you don't trust his deal. Player C is trying to win. Look at player D and see what they have to offer, right? Far too often I see people, and this kind of maybe goes to aggressive politicking a little bit, we'll get there. Far too often I see people taking the first deal put in front of them by the most aggressive yapper at the table, but there are other people at the table that are not trying to win, right? Look at player D and say, okay, I see what Jordan's given me. I hear him, but, sometimes he squirrels his words. This deal's probably only beneficial for him. He wants to untap a cradle 7 times. What are you offering me?
I'll take 5.
What are you offering me? What are you looking at over there? What's your board state like? Maybe you're more similarly situated in board state with that person. Maybe you're both a little bit behind, and it's more reasonable for you guys to negotiate than for you to negotiate with Jordan and 7 cradle untaps, right? So don't be afraid to not only not take the first deal placed in front of you, but to also go to a different person to look for a better deal. Yeah, and don't just take the first offer from the first person that's in front of you.
Yeah, because you can absolutely ask the other person, like, "Hey, what loopholes are you seeing here?" Because I'm a little worried about this deal. Like, I don't see how they benefit, and I'm worried that I can't see how they benefit. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can even ask the player who's winning, like, "Hey, what is this deal doing for them?" Mm-hmm. I've done that before. I'll be like, "Look, you're getting screwed on this deal. Tell me what I'm missing." Yeah. And the person sometimes can be like, "This is what you're missing," and I'll be like, "Okay." It was a terrible deal, but it's also still better than losing.
And also, sometimes you reason with a person that's winning, right? You say, hey, look, It sounds like we have a way to blow you out. Can we just be cool to not give him the game? Can we just be reasonable for a turn?
Take the deal and use it against the person making the deal.
Exactly.
To try and save like your
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't like, brother, your window's closed.
I would say I do that one plenty. Hey, it looks like we have you stopped. This person's obviously trying to rocket ahead. Can we be cool? Can we just see where we're at after a rotation?
Yeah. Yeah. Every deal you're offered, just think about it. That's all we're asking you to do. Just think about it. You don't need to take 2 minutes to think about it. 15 seconds, 20 seconds. Real quick, what do they benefit? How do I benefit? Does that outweigh what they benefit on? If they offered it, probably not. But you never know. Sometimes people get desperate and they make bad deals. So just really think about it. Be really careful. And make sure you're not going to get screwed by the loophole. Make sure. Ironclad, explicitly read it back to them. Say, you are going to do this. I get this, this, and this. We both are agreeing that is the spirit of the deal, correct? Mm-hmm. We're not going to screw me on squirreling the words or finding a loophole or no. We good on that. Cool. Then I am good to accept what we have discussed right here. Nothing else. No loopholes. No dumb shit. We have discussed. Make this shit as narrow as possible. If you need to make another deal, you're better making a second deal than trying to do a big, broad, all-encompassing deal. Doesn't work for Congress. It's not going to work for you. Promise. It's how you get porking. It's how it happens. I'm telling you guys, you're better off just making other deals.
Yep. Or like we said earlier, standing on business and losing and just not making a deal if you don't feel like it ends well for you either way.
Yeah, someone's going to keep offering you a bad deal and you're like, brother, I'm not going to accept that deal. Like, it's bad for me. Like, you got to be reasonable with your offer.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. Then you're like, cool. I'll just not cast it.
Guess we lose.
We'll lose, yeah.
I have the power here. I have the force of will.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? When you have the power, don't let yourself get bullied by the
person without interaction, right? By the person that's scratching and clawing not to lose the game.
Yeah.
If they're not going to offer you a deal that's beneficial to you, we can all lose the game.
Or at least 50-50, right? It doesn't have to be beneficial, but you're not going to gain more than me if I'm the one using my resource. But I've seen plenty of games where, like, the person throws out a deal to get that person to use the resource, and they still benefit from the deal. Mm-hmm. Wild.
Insane work. Absolutely insane work. What some people get away with at tables. Some people being Jordan Drake. Love you.
I mean, it's honest. I do get away with some nonsense.
He does.
That's why I'm teaching. I want you guys to not let me get away with the nonsense. Actually, I feel like I don't get away with as much nonsense anymore. Most people are, like, wise to my shit.
That's good. People have learned.
I've had to, like, figure out new ways.
People have been Jordaned enough.
I don't like that. Was that a verb?
Make that mainstream, guys. Call it being Jordaned.
Please don't.
If you take anything away from this video, say, I got Jordaned the next time you see him.
The last topic we're going to go over tonight is aggressive politicking. I think it's one of the hardest things for most people in the space to handle because sometimes it's insidious in terms of, I guess, the way it presents itself. Sometimes it's like overbearing and forceful and it feels like it's being rammed down your throat.
Right.
Other times it's like more of a subtle, almost like passive aggressive way of doing it, I guess. Other times it's like sulky, whiny, aggressive. It presents itself in a few numerous ways, but you can kind of tell when players are getting tilted at the table. And I think that's when when the aggressive politics comes out. But there's other players, some more notorious than others, that use it in their arsenal from the beginning of games. And they are nonstop about it.
Right.
And so when you're sitting in a pod with either players that start the game like this or players that get to that point because of stuff that's happening in the games, how do you then manage that behavior at the table? It's tough. I mean, I'll be honest, even today, I don't know that I've 100% solved it.
Right.
Because there's still times when even I get frustrated when I get over politicked. Right. When I'm tired of hearing it and I'm tired of people coming at me. And I'm like, guys, shut the fuck up and let me just do what I'm going to do. Sorry for the language. But like, right. I get tired of it. I get tired of hearing it. You know, I've even got a little a little card, MRTA.
MTRA 4.1.
I got the little card, and so someone pisses me off.
Is it 4.1?
I don't even.
Don't
know.
quote me on that. I don't know.
That's why I have the card.
Yeah.
So I don't have to remember the rule. I just have it on a card.
Yeah.
So you piss me off enough, I'll hand it to you.
Just put it on your playmat and tap it.
Whoop. This is where I'm at, guys. I'm just letting y'all know. The honest thing is, you just have to have a little bit of a spine, and I know not everyone in this format is, to put it nicely, maybe the most socially conscious. I know a lot of us, we can be a little awkward at times. We're a little weird. I know I am. It might not seem like it. This podcast makes me deeply uncomfortable sometimes. I have to hear my own voice. I have to edit this crap. And then I have to hear my voice again. It's not fun. Lily hates also hearing her own voice. She won't even let me edit it in front of her.
No, I'm good. He can do that while I'm at work. I'm so good. I don't need to hear that.
So, I think a lot of players are in the same boat, right? We're not the most, I just don't think we're the most socially active class, right? It's just not who Magic players are.
We're people that play TCG games.
We're nerds.
It's fine.
We're dorks.
It is what it is.
We're weirdos.
It comes with the territory.
It does.
It's not a knock, but don't get aggressively politicked.
Well, it's not a knock, but it is. I think certain people have come into the format and they know they can get away with it because players struggle in those situations.
Right.
Whether because it's so aggressive that it's overwhelming and overstimulating, and it can be really hard to respond to correctly. Mm-hmm. The best advice I can give you guys is just call a judge. Just call a judge. If someone is coming at you all game long and it's to the point where you feel that it's not even that you're unsafe, right? But you're in a place where it's like, I don't feel like I can continue the game in my current mental state. Mm-hmm. Just call a judge. Slow the game down, take a break for a second, step away from the table, talk to a judge. They'll give you the time extension. You don't have to worry about going over time. Just step away from the table, talk to the judge and say, hey, I'm uncomfortable in this game. I feel like I'm being over politicked. I feel like this person's being extremely aggressive. I would prefer a judge to stay here for the rest of this game while this game continues. Mm-hmm. A judge will do it, right? A judge will stay there. If they're a good judge, which most are, they're going to sit right there on top of it. They might even get the head judge to come over and sit there and handle the situation if it gets bad enough. Mm-hmm. And let them do their jobs. That's why they're there. That's what they're paid for. And any judge worth their salt isn't going to let that behavior continue. They're just not.
That's true.
So.
And also going into that, right? Call a judge as well. But if for some reason you don't call a judge, because sometimes we're hesitant to, right? I think Jordan and I have both been in situations where we didn't call a judge and we should have. And I'm sure...
Especially early on.
And I'm sure everybody that watches this podcast, that listens to this, has probably had an experience where, I probably should have called a judge. So if for some reason you don't call a judge... that's not your personality, you don't want to do it, you're not comfortable with it, what have you, then I would also say don't meet the aggression with aggression. I find a lot of people see a hothead at the table, the person starts aggressively politicking, and the other person starts coming back at them and starts trying
matching their energy.
Exactly. And it's, well, if you're going to come into this game and be aggressive with me, I'm going to match your energy, and you're going to get what you get out of this pod, right? Yeah. And so I understand where people are coming from with that, because it is very hard to de-escalate situations. And if somebody's trying to back you into a bad deal, or you feel lied to, maybe you want to snap back at them. But I think it creates more problems than it solves. For one, you lose any kind of deal making, going back to the social contract situation, you lose a lot of goodwill at the table if players C and D also start perceiving you as a crash out because you're going back at it with player A, right? So just be very careful not to match energy. Keep your social credibility at a table up. It can even help you if you perceive that somebody is crashing out on you and you are calm, and look at the other players and say, hey, regardless of what this person does, I think this spell needs to be countered. Do we have anything for that? If not, it's cool. Let's just have a conversation, right? Yeah. De-escalate the situation to the best of your ability if you're not comfortable calling a judge, and just try not to match their energy and try not to feed into the negative energy at the table, right?
Yeah. No, 100%. Because, I mean, I've been guilty of it before, right? I've matched people's energy because I get frustrated.
Oh, me too.
And I'm a big dude. I'm a former Marine. Like, I can run hot if you piss me off enough. I try really hard not to, but that's still there sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I think for the most part, I do a good job. I've really only ever seen you get frustrated once, mm-hmm. And I feel like I do mostly a good job of not, matching that energy. But I really stress to you guys as well. Stay calm in the situation. It's hard. I know it is. Mm-hmm. Just try to stay as calm as you can. Be the bigger person. Remember what you're there for, right? You're there to both have fun, one. So if this person is ruining your fun, take care of the situation. Call the judge, right? You don't have to engage with this crap. These people should be out of the format anyway, right? Like, honestly, right. If you can't sit down at a children's card game and hold it together for 80 minutes at a time,
right,
and be able to take your deep breaths between rounds and recollect your thoughts and come back in and still doing the same crap, mm-hmm. you probably shouldn't be playing the game.
That's
first
fair.
And foremost.
That's fair.
Right? I mean, that's just how it is, right? You shouldn't be here. It's supposed to be fun. No one is getting rich off this shit.
No.
No one. No one in CEDH. I guarantee you there's almost no one in all of Magic, other than WotC themselves, that is getting rich off of playing the game.
Right.
And WotC doesn't play, right? So, like, no one's getting rich off of playing.
Right.
Maybe you used to be able to back in the day,
mm-hmm.
but not anymore. Especially in CEDH.
No,
we don't
in
win
this format.
We don't win consistently enough. Nobody does.
No.
Even the best players don't win consistently enough. Like, take down tournaments.
And the prize pool differential between this and 60 card is also huge. But that's a different story for a different time, right?
And so, remember why we're all here. First and foremost, we're here to have fun. If someone's ruining your fun, deal with it. The second thing is, just have a spine. That's really, I know it's hard, but like, be willing to call the judge. I guarantee you no one's going to think less of you for doing so. Maybe the person who's getting angry, but who gives a fuck what they think? Like, they're an asshole. Get rid of them. They should be gone. Yeah. You don't want them in the space. Yeah. I don't want to play with people like that. I don't think anyone does.
And chances are, to the call a judge point, right? Chances, depending on where we're at in the tournament, you're not the first one that's complained, and this has not been the first experience, right?
I mean,
if you can create a pattern of behavior to where now we're escalating from GRVs to maybe turn skips or, disqualification if it gets to that point, right? Hey, get out of the venue if you're being that combative with other people, right? Don't just assume that you're the only one that has dealt with this behavior, I
mean, some of the reason bad actors have gotten to stay in this space for far longer than they should is because no one's willing to call them on it, right? If you don't call judge on the bad behavior and you just go on Twitter and rant about it after the fact, or you go into a Discord and say, I hate that person, they're an asshole, they treated me like crap in this game, what can the judges do about that?
Yeah, in retrospect, what can they do?
Like, sure, they get a negative reputation, but for some people, they just don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, plenty of people in the space have negative reputations and they don't care because they win.
Right.
And that's more important than having the reputation. Right. So if you hold people accountable to the TOs and to the judges, and we can get problematic individuals like that removed from the space. Look, some people are going to have a bad day, right? I've had some bad days. I'm sure there's people out here who probably think I'm an asshole. I hope not. But I don't know how my actions have been perceived in every tournament.
Right.
I've never crashed out as far as I can remember.
Right.
But you don't know how someone is going to perceive, an over politicking moment or maybe an aggressive moment or, maybe I matched energy with somebody and the other two players in the pod didn't take it well. You never know. So like, we're not saying every single person that ever has an aggressive moment is a bad person. But we are saying is if you notice a pattern with specific people or you're having just because they're having a bad moment in that tournament doesn't mean that you need to sit there and accept it.
Right.
Right? Let a judge handle it because if the judge needs to pull them away from the table and tell them to calm down and give them a moment to calm down and get their thoughts back together and realize they're being insane, right? It's a children's card game at the end of the day. Let's be real here. It's not life and death. We're all fine. You lose a tournament, Nothing happens, it turns out. You go home and you do it again next weekend.
No, that's the thing. You still go to your day job or whatever job Monday morning.
Yeah.
You know, the world's still spinning even if you scrub out of a tournament.
Turns out. So when you're dealing with aggressive politicking, be willing to call judge. Be willing to stand up for yourself, right? You don't have to take it. Mm-hmm. You can tell the person, hey, I don't appreciate the way you're approaching me. I don't appreciate the way this conversation is. I don't appreciate your tone. I'm going to ask you to step back from that or chill out or, you know, whatever you need to say. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be a dick about it. You don't have to match their energy like Lily said. But you don't have to take it either. And if you don't feel like you need to call judge because it hasn't either reached that point or you're just not comfortable calling judge, for one, be comfortable calling judge. But if you're not, you don't have to sit there and just accept it. I've seen people literally reduce to tears in pods. Mm-hmm. That should never happen. Ever. Unacceptable. If I was a judge and I saw someone reduce to tears, whoever did it, gone. No excuse. Yeah. I don't care what they did. Yeah. Gone. Right? There's no excuse for that. Like to reduce someone to tears over a game, ridiculous. Yeah. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. But I've seen it more than once. At least I can probably count on, I probably need 2 hands, which is crazy. Yeah. That should not be happening ever in any tournament. The fact that I can count that many times that I've seen it happen to people because of really, really aggressive politicking where it was just to the point where they're basically shouting at them. Right. And I'm wondering where a judge is. And sometimes the judges are like, well, until they call judge, I can't get involved. But I think that's bullshit personally. If you see it, you're a judge, you should just jump in and stop that shit.
For sure. For niche game interactions, if you don't want to, step in and police the game state, if they haven't called on a GRV, but if it's somebody actively being berated and you're standing there, oh, no one's called it. No.
And for the most part,
get them out of there.
I think for the most part, I've seen most judges handle it. So again, with these aggressive politicking, you just have to be willing to kind of stand on your ground and you don't get pushed around. If someone's going to bully you and berate you and yell at you, you don't have to accept it. Stand up for yourself, push back respectfully, stay calm, call judge if it gets to the point where you're struggling against it. Don't let your inexperience, if you're brand new to tournaments, and I want to point this out as well. Everything we've talked about today, kind of as we're kind of starting to wrap up the discussion, everything we've talked about today is more rare than not. Mm-hmm. I've had games where I've had, aggressive politics. I've had games where deals went wrong and, I was backstabbed or I made a bad deal. I've had games where I was lied to. These are extraordinarily rare circumstances. I have played well over, let me think, it's like 200?
Mm-hmm. Over 200 tournament games.
And you've played how many?
A little bit less than you. Played a couple tournaments less than you.
Right. So, we're pretty close. We both played around 200, almost 250 tournament games, right? I can probably count on one hand I've been lied to, 4 times, like I said earlier. Mm-hmm. Out of 250 rounds, I have been aggressively politicked to the point of, it being a problem maybe a dozen times in 250 rounds. Mm-hmm. I have been in bad deals. Mostly I'm the one making the bad deals. It's the ones that actually went against me, maybe 3 times, right? These are actually significantly more rare circumstances than you might expect. Now, if you have a local in your area that lies and does all this stuff, your mileage may vary there.
Results may vary.
But I can tell you out in the North Carolina area, there are some players that are known for these kind of behaviors, and I still don't see it often. Mm-hmm. Even they're a little bit more selective about when they do this kind of stuff. Yeah. So, I just don't think it's not as big of a deal as Twitter would make you think it is. Mm-hmm. But we want you to be armed with the tools to fight back when these things do happen to you.
And this discussion is very timely with the discourse and with everything going around. And because, there were some people reporting that they were lied to at the CCS event, which is going to happen, and the whole thing on Twitter that spurred all of this, right? So we wanted to make this discussion timely. We wanted to give people the tools to kind of combat it, but also with the huge caveat that this does not happen often, and this should not be a reason to kind of tear down CEDH players or tear down CEDH as a format, right? All we can do is build ourselves up and try to make the format better and try to push forward, right? So with that in mind, that was kind of the whole framework behind the video.
Yeah. And we like, if you're watching this and you're wondering like why I would ever want to play a CEDH tournament or why I'd ever want to jump into CEDH if I'm seeing these type of things, these, again, like we've said, they're rare. So like if you've had a bad experience, I promise you, if you play enough games, that bad experience you'll see as an outlier. If you're worried about jumping into CEDH because you're worried about these things, these are outliers. These are not common situations. The vast majority of the games I've ever played are normal Magic games. They're Commander at a different speed, right? It's not anything, like if you already don't like Commander, then it's probably not for you. But like, if you're still wanting if you have the competitive itch, this is a great format. It's fun.
Yeah.
And it's different than the other Magic formats in a way that you just can't replicate. CEDH just really stands out in a unique space because of all the social elements that you just do not get. So if that's something that interests you, I definitely advise you to come out and try it and play 10, 15, 20 games and see how it feels, because it's fun. It is really fun. Don't, if you're worried about people calling it slop on Twitter, let them talk. Who cares? At the end of the day, doesn't affect us.
Right.
CEDH is growing. We went from, 4,500 players on the ELO board in 2024 at the start of it to 8,500 this year. That number is just going to continue to grow. It's the more money's in the pool, more players are in the pool, more events than ever, almost too many events.
More TOs in the pool now, right? Everybody's trying to do something at least regionally for their space.
That CCS, that was a $20K guaranteed event.
Yep.
I made $550
Yep.
just for top 16. Like, great.
Can't complain about that, right?
And
it's fun.
Had I not misplayed the crap out of my game, I'd have made like 2,700.
Fair.
Not bad for a weekend I would have done for free just to play because I like CEDH.
Yeah.
So I think the format's in a good place. These events are rare. Don't let them scare you away from the space.
Mistakes were made.
All right, first question. Roll it.
All right. First audience question that we have today is from Abraham Drinkin 2534. I have a question for Jordan for the next episode. On the Colors Are Crutch podcast late last year, you mentioned going through a tough period with Magic in the early part of 2025 and contemplated stepping away from the game or something of that nature. Is that a topic you can share as to why, or is it too personal?
Dang, y'all are making me get real on here.
It's share your feelings time.
All right. I'm willing to share. So I get really competitive. I know everything I do. Whether it's CEDH or regular board games or doing a good job at work or when I did other stuff. I don't know. When I did sports in high school. It doesn't really matter, right? Like, whatever it is, I'm super competitive in it. I want to be the best every single time in everything, which is unrealistic. But I have high expectations of myself, which is a problem. Because when you have high expectations of yourself and you don't meet those expectations, you start to get really down and really frustrated with yourself. And winning the Boyle 2 was such a pinnacle moment for me because it finally showed to myself that I was at the point where I'd always wanted to be, right? I had learned, I had grown, and I could now play with the best of the best. And not just play with them, but beat them. And winning, at the time, the largest event of all time. And it being such a capstone from where the Boyle was my first event to the Boyle 2 kind of being that capstone. It was almost like I'd hit the summit, right? I'd climbed Everest. And the next 3 months were the descent from Everest, except it was like, instead of descending, gradually, someone threw me off the other side of Everest, and I went down the steep side of the cliff, right? Royal Rumble was a kick in the teeth. My locals were becoming a kick in the teeth. I started to kind of recover, and then the Invitational was a kick in the teeth. I was finding I was no longer having fun. I switched decks around. I started playing Blue Farm. Blue Farm was not fun. I was doing okay, but I wasn't having fun playing it. I tried Rock Thrash. I didn't have fun with it. I guess that every time I picked up a Magic deck, I was no longer having fun. It was actually around the same time I got under my sponsorship for the first time, and I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to perform under that as well. And my sponsor is super understanding, and I don't think he was ever putting pressure on me, but I was putting pressure on myself to perform. And I just wasn't meeting my expectations. I didn't feel like I was helping. I was meeting the expectations that were set there. I was losing a lot. I was really unhappy even when I was winning. Lily and like to the point where like one of the first and probably only real crash outs I've had while playing CEDH occurred when Lily knocked me out at the CCS 10K?
10K, yeah.
10K? And I actually went off on her because she knocked me out in the win and in. And it was kind of at that moment where I realized like I had kind of lost the plot on what this game was. Right? Like I wasn't even happy for my own wife winning and getting into top 16. I was more mad at myself I was mad at her for taking it from me, which is such a horrible thought because was not mine to have. Mm-hmm. I didn't earn it, right? She earned it and she played great that game. I was just it wasn't even I was frustrated at Lily. I took it out on Lily, but I was more frustrated at myself for losing and her being the architect of my demise in that game. Really lost the plot there. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what kind of was prompting me to step away. It was like I wasn't having fun. I was so high strung that I was now getting upset at people around me for winning games instead of just enjoying it. And I don't think I was getting upset in the moment with them. I think Lily's the only person that I ever did that with.
Lucky me, guys.
Yeah. Definitely not my proudest moment. Definitely bottom 5 moment for me, personally. Yeah. So I decided at the Invitational I was going to retire. I'd kind of decided that. That was going to be my last tournament, and then I'd step away from CEDH and just go back to playing casually. All my friends had left the format as well. So like all my close friends were doing other stuff. So I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing here anymore. And losing the Invitational is what reignited my spark. I actually had a lot of fun at the Invitational. I had a good time. It felt like the closest thing we've ever seen to a pro tour. Lily and I were having great games. I was getting really competitive games against some of the best players in the world. Got to see a lot of my friends. Got to buy some cool cards, got to hang out. Like Steel City was just such an amazing event and tournament that I was like, okay, maybe this is something I still might want to do, but I still need to figure out a way to do it in a healthy way to where it is still fun, right? And that's something I stressed earlier is if I'm not having fun, what are we doing? Like, why are we here? So it took some time. It took some time to figure that out post-Invitational. Losing actually was funny. I think had I won the Invitational, I'm not 100% certain I'd have continued. Might have just gone off on that might have been my swan song.
Yeah.
But losing actually was like what I needed to find my passion for the game again. It also helped, like I'd been kind of brewing on Tree Farm. Tree Farm also really helped. I'd started brewing on that before the Invitational. That also really helped find my spark. I love the deck. I absolutely adore the deck. It is so much fun to play. And every game is a puzzle. And I love solving that puzzle. And I stopped stressing winning. I stopped stressing record. I stopped stressing clout. I stopped stressing, being a person of importance, right? Or like I had some expectation to meet. I just started having fun again. It's like, I'm just going to play. Whatever happens, happens. I don't care anymore. I just want to have fun playing the game I love. And slowly but surely, I was able to come back into the format in a way that I think is much healthier, where I don't really care about my results as much. I just like to play. And it's funny, as soon as I stopped caring about the results as much, all of a sudden the wins roll in, right? Start taking down tournaments again and top 16ing and top 4ing all the time. Like I played 6 tournaments this year and 6 qualifying top deck tournaments. And I'm number whatever on the leaderboard, like 5 or 6 or whatever. I don't even know. I knew enough the other day to make fun of Dallas because we have a little friendly rivalry going. And then the team was huge. Becoming captain of this team and taking it over and doing everything that we've done with Monolith has really also given me not just a focus, like a healthy focus in terms of I can put all my energy and competitive energy into making this team awesome, which means that now it's less about the individual effort and more about building up this organization. And so my competitiveness has now been refocused into I no longer feel the need to win. Now I just want to make Monolith as awesome as possible, which means I get to build up my teammates and I get to build up the format, and I get to try and bring a more professional environment to everything. And so it's just kind of refocus that energy. And I know this is a very long-winded answer for this question, but it was also kind of a deep question. So as long as you can remind yourself that you're here to have fun and the result doesn't matter, that I'm here to jam cool Magic games with my friends and have great games, then I think you can kind of find your way through those highs and lows that CEDH naturally has.
All right. Question from Bissy Baxon 365. Can we speak on flash photography? Why isn't this card seeing play outside Kinnan, at the very least in medium green decks?
Because it's awkward mana cost.
It is.
Double blue and 2. And then its flashback is double blue and 4.
I believe so.
Yeah. This card is amazing, though. So flash photography is a sorcery. It's 2 and 2 blue. You may cast a spell as though it had flash if it targets a permanent you control. Create a token that's a copy of target permanent, flashback 4 and 2 blue. I think the biggest reason is probably a lot of people probably missed that it came out. It was in the weird Final Fantasy Commander box thingy they did.
Yeah.
It's like a product that came out well after Final Fantasy had been printed. So I think people probably just missed it at times. So that is one reason. 2, again, like we said before, it's mana cost, super awkward. 2 blue is more awkward than people realize in CEDH because you have to start to also determine whether or not I'm going to hold up now that kind of mana.
Right.
Like, do I cast a 4 mana spell? Like, if it was 3 and a blue, I think it'd be ubiquitous.
Right.
It'd be a ubiquitous card in the format.
But Kinnan gets around the awkward CMC, which
Right.
is partly why we see so much of it in Kinnan, right? They kind of deal with that just as a function of Kinnan.
Well, plus it already goes to the game plan they already want to do, which is clone everything anyway.
Exactly.
I actually think we're going to start seeing it more often. I think we're starting to see it in TNT and Rock Dresses now, which I think is correct because also the fact that copies that target permanent is crazy because you can also target people's guys' cradles.
That's true.
And that's, you don't have to run a copy land, which I've joked about running before.
Or you can just have a million Rhystic Studies.
Yeah.
Add a Rhystic Study to your arsenal. You're going to draw cards no matter what your opponents do.
Plus you get to flash it back.
You do.
And you can do it at instant speed.
That's true.
So as long as it targets a permanent you control, this card's sick.
Yeah.
I do think it's going to start seeing play. I actually want to test it in my TNT build because copying other people's cradles sounds great. Yeah, good card. I think it's going to see more play. I think people just missed it.
That's true. So now there is a second part to that question
Okay.
where he says, or they say, second question, are backup win cons actually needed? CDH decks and players are so refined, cards are power crept, and decks are so homogenous. Why run Oracle, FMM plus Tithe plus GSZ, Meme Bet, P-Grasp, all of the various breach lines, HBH loops, VFC loops, OBM loops? Can't we just run kill plan A, layered kill plan B? We already either pick the one-shot window or we force a draw. The more lists I look at, the more I think many decks can free up 2 to 5 slots.
I mean, are most decks running more than 2 dedicated win cons?
I think it depends on the deck, right? I would say Kinnan definitely has kill plan A, layered kill plan B, right?
I mean, kind of. Their plan is literally Finale or Fairy Mastermind. That's their only 2 win cons. But both are value pieces.
Right.
For Blue Farm, you have Breach and Thoracle. I don't know that they run any other one. Like, most decks don't run Meme Bet, right?
I mean, P-Grasp.
P-Grasp isn't a win, though. P-Grasp has utility outside of its win.
That's true.
Like, when I think of wins, I think of like a Francisco Thras deck where they're running Ballista because there's the combo. But Ballista has no other utility in the deck other than winning. Like, yeah, I guess you can cast it for 4 and kill some stuff, but like, you know what I'm saying? Realistically, it's not doing much for your deck.
Right.
Thoracle, dead card.
That's true.
Literally the deadest of cards. Swift Recon, like kind of a dead card. Like it is. It can be a protection piece.
You can screw people on that.
I have.
As a person that has had their Glinthorn Buccaneer Swift Recon on a camera game, actually, you can find that on the internet. Not just a win con by your very definition.
True. I personally, like, TNT is constructed to have as many, what I call, like, utility win cons.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it is a win con, but it has other uses outside of just winning. Mm-hmm. The only card in my deck that literally has no use other than winning is Thoracle itself.
That's fair.
Which I guess, like, yes, you can scry.
Yes, you can scry.
No one would ever cast it for its scry cost unless you were, like, final turn, absolutely desperate.
Yeah.
And you had, like, a way to draw a card, I guess. I think I've seen Thoracle cast for value, like, twice in my entire CDH career.
It ends up being value after you get stopped. And your Demcon gets countered
true.
and you say, sure, I guess I'll scry now.
True, right? Usually if it's getting stopped, I just instantly lose, it feels like, though. So, like, even that's usually irrelevant. Like, I'm struggling to think of a deck that's like, this is here for only a win con.
I was going to say, I mean, even, like, Pirate Farm had a lot of layered wins, right? There's the Pirate Synergy, there's the Mayhem Devil stuff, then there's Breach, then there's Thoracle, then there's Glinthorn. There are a couple different ways to make Mayhem Devil a pirate, but outside of that, it all serves utility, right?
But
even if I make Bowmasters a pirate, we're still getting utility. We're just not winning the game.
Well, I think that's
it's the layered situation you were talking about.
Well, I think that's the strongest. Well, that's how I construct my decks.
Yeah.
And by extension, help you construct your decks.
Yeah.
Right? I believe in layering as much as possible. Mm-hmm. Interchangeable pieces means that I find wins a lot easier. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, if I have to find, like, my issue with, like, my old Marnius deck is I had to find hyper-specific card number 1 to combo with hyper-specific card number 2.
Yeah.
And then if I found, like, hyper-specific card of this combo and then hyper-specific card of that combo,
you're just staring at them in your hand.
You know, they don't go together. They don't do anything. So then you're just in this weird spot of
what do I do?
Right, like, now what?
Yeah.
Whereas the layered win cons, they all kind of go together, still advance my board. Mm-hmm. And like Power Artifact is a great example. I used to run that in my Marnius deck. That card sucks to draw. It's garbage. It does nothing.
Right.
It only wins
until you're winning.
Well, no, it only makes infinite colorless mana, which in Marnius does not actually always win the game, because if someone removes Marnius and you don't,
as you learned, it does not always win the game.
So like that card sucks to draw.
Yeah.
I want to minimize as many of those cards as possible. I think Breach is almost similar in some ways.
Yeah.
You can't. That's not true. Most people do not cast Breach as a value piece.
No.
It's like extraordinarily rare that I've ever seen it. I can, again, count on like one hand the amount of times.
Yeah.
LED, garbage card.
True.
Outside of winning. Like maybe a niche scenario where you drop your whole hand to get Crom, but like that still doesn't seem like it feels good. That's like emergency desperation.
Right.
In a lot of ways, Blue Farm almost has more dead cards than TNT, which is hilarious.
In some ways.
But Breach is so powerful it doesn't matter.
No. Yeah.
Like in Brain Freeze like has utility.
It can.
But it's bad utility.
It's niche utility.
It's like super niche. It's more niche than Swift.
It's there, I guess.
But like I'm thinking,
there are a non-zero amount of games where I've seen it be relevant outside of comboing off.
I think the only time I've ever seen it be relevant was when a Vivi was comboing off and they got Brain Freezed out and then couldn't draw any more cards because they literally could not cast another spell without losing.
That was funny.
That was so funny.
Was that Jake?
That was Jake. I did that to Jake. I was like, hey buddy, how many spells? What's our storm count? 25? Cool. Here's Brain Freeze. I was like, how much mana you got left? Hot. No blue.
We're so sorry, Jake.
I'm not sorry.
This man's never sorry for what happens in game.
That's not true.
I'm sorry.
There's been a couple of times where I'm like, dang, that's rough, buddy. I need to get that magic card. I want to have like a stack of them. So if something happens, I can be like,
damn, that's rough. Damn, that's rough.
Just don't even say anything. You just like kind of hand them the card. Maybe I'll like initial it at the bottom. For like 30 cents, I think I can do it. I can't believe they made that a magic card.
You want to go to the next question?
No, well, let me think. Hold on for a second longer. I'm trying to think of other decks actually have more win cons. You guys can think of any that are running like 3 win cons where they're not like real win cons. Like they're not. A win con is a card I would not have in the deck otherwise to win. So I guess like TNT has a bunch. I don't know. Like, I feel like I'd still want a meal. Like, a meal's been kind of a powerhouse at times. Mm-hmm. More than I expected it to be. Mm-hmm. And, like, I've thought about cutting the Swift Devoted Druids Hazel line before. But, like, it's so compact and it has value. Like, Devoted Druid's actually hilarious to put a Spring Heart and Tuco on, for example. Mm-hmm. And, like, Brewmaster having the synergy with the food guy makes it, like, really it makes it hard to want to cut those pieces. Mm-hmm. Like, Thoracle's the one I want to cut.
No, I know.
Like, if Thoracle got banned...
I hear you talk about it every other week. I'd
almost be happy if Thoracle got banned, because then I just don't have to run it.
No, that's valid.
It's too good not to run, because it's so fast.
You remove
and
the
efficient.
Tainted Pact and Demcon slot.
Oh.
That's 3 slots in Tree Farm.
That would make me so happy. That'd make me so happy. I almost never win with Thorkel anyway, so like that would be awesome.
That's funny.
Because like Devoted Druid already does what Devoted Swift already gives me the exact same compact win. Like, yeah, I guess there's technically the extra step of having to get to Thrasios, but like that's so trivial.
Yeah.
It almost never comes up. And if I have infinite green, I'm usually have something I can do with it right away. I don't know. I'm trying to think of it. If you guys can think of a deck, let us know and we'll revisit this question. But like, I'm struggling to think of a deck that has more than 2 win cons that you wouldn't want in the deck otherwise. I think most people actually are on the one. You get your 1 kill shot and you might get a backup chance to go again. But you're right. You almost never have time to jam multiple wins in a single game.
That's true.
Yeah. All right, next question.
Okay, so third question. This is from the Drake Academy Discord from Wise Games. As a person who went down a color from Najeela to TNT, do you think maybe taking a strategy and removing the least used color to enforce said strategy will help or hurt? And could it be dependent on what color or colors you would be dropping?
So I think all CEDH decks are 2 colors unless they're monocolored. So like if you're monocolored, obviously you're monocolored, right? But everybody else outside of that exception is 2 colors primarily. It doesn't matter if you're a 5-color deck or a 4-color deck. I think every deck is 2 colors and everything. And then the other 2 colors are splash. So like, I think the vast majority of, like or like blue farm decks are black and blue, and you splash red and white.
Interesting.
Right.
I've heard the opposite. I've heard you're either Esper or Mardu.
Do you think everyone's 3 color?
I've heard it broken down into 3, specifically for blue farm, not for. I don't know anything. I don't know. Don't ask me about TNT, but specifically for blue farm, you're the Esper half where you run more counter spells, commandeer, maybe up on the extra silence effect.
But even saying that, you're still just splashing a color, right? Because like if you're saying you're Esper or Mardu, you're basically saying you're either blue focused or red focused, but you're still white and white focused. I don't even think you're really white focused. White is a splash color. You're splashing for silences and some treasure generators.
If there had to be a splash color in blue farm, it's white. That's fair.
Right, but then you're also splashing red, because red's not doing much either.
Well, some people do more than splash red, though. There's the Flare of Duplication package. Some people ran Rograk for a time.
That's dumb. That's just dumb. No, but if you think
there's more than splashing red occurring.
If you think about
in some variants.
Most blue farms, their red cards are some pieces of interaction, gamble, maybe wheel, breach, and then like
Red Blast, Pyroblast.
Well, I already said some interaction. Your creatures, you're running like 4 red creatures.
Right.
Like you're not running that many red spells. I actually think if you look at your percentages, you're like super blue, super black, a little bit red, a little bit white. And that's kind of what I was saying before is like most decks are probably 2 color focused anyway. So if you're like if you're Timna Dargo, you're probably like really red black focused.
That's true.
And your white is again your splash. In TNT, we're very Simic forward, and our black and white are splashes. Kinnan is not Kinnan. Sorry, Rogthras is very Kinnan light, right? Where
it's very Simic forward again.
It's very Simic forward. Your red is almost non-existent to the point where a lot of them even drop their red.
Some don't run Volcanic Island. Because there's no point to have the red pip. Or at least if they run it, they don't fetch it often. There's no need for the red pip.
Sisay might be unique because they need all 5 colors.
It may be the most balanced.
But I bet you if you actually look at their stuff, I bet you it's green forward.
Probably.
Probably green white. I'd have to look at a Sisay list. I haven't looked at a Sisay list in a while.
Yeah.
Rogsai is very blue-black forward. Actually, it might even be black-red forward, depending on the Rogsai build. Because you're not running
more black-red forward, honestly. Yeah. You want your wheels, you want your rituals, you want your Adnos, you want your breach. You're lighter on the blue half because you don't really care about interacting.
Your blue is mostly just your backup interaction.
Yeah.
Like even your creature base is like Flood Caller.
Maybe, yeah.
And then Heuristic and Mystic.
Yeah.
Like even
the staples, truly, that you sort of fall back on if you can get there after a push.
So it's black, and that's what I'm saying. I think all decks are like 2-color float forward. Probably then. I'm sure there's exceptions to that rule.
Yeah.
But I think the idea of building your deck around 2 colors primarily and then splashing other colors to support the strategy of the deck is probably where most CEDH decks just naturally fall. So when you're going down a color, I think you're doing that naturally anyway. Like my Najeela deck was very green forward, very green-red. Very, very gruel. And then everything else was splashing to the primary Najeela plan. But I've seen other Najeela decks where they were very red-black forward because they were taking advantage of more of the turbo Najeela style, which was very popular pre-Dockside ban. You don't see that style as much anymore. You don't really see Najeela as much anymore, though, to be fair either. I'm trying to think of like some other decks I saw this weekend. Like Yoshi Thras is very Simic forward as well. Very Simic forward. They almost run almost no white.
Yeah.
Tevish Thras, very green-black forward. Blue's more of a splash.
I can see that.
I guess it depends on the build, but that might be one of the few decks where I've seen like a good balance between the three. But like still probably green-black forward.
I feel like your Malcolm variants, Malcolm Vile is probably blue-black centric, depending on the build.
Are you not?
Maybe is it?
I was gonna say, are not all Malcolm builds blue-red and everything, and whatever color is the splash color?
Blue-red. So you think there is it and everything else? Well, no, because Malcolm Tana feels more Simic than
That's true.
Is it?
That's true.
That's another one where Simic dominates. You want all your green tutors, you want all your interaction. Red's there for Glinthorn. Red's truly there for Glinthorn. And not even Underworld Breach, just Glinthorn, right?
Yeah.
Malcolm Vile actually has a good diversity of...
You're probably still red-black forward, though.
Probably. You run the full interaction suite.
Yeah, but...
It's not like Rogsai where you...
But even a lot of your blue
cut
is...
some of them.
But even a lot of your blue is free. Like, you're not running a lot of blue stuff.
Well...
Right?
The 1-drop pirates, we have Siren Storm Tamer, we have Spectral Sailor, we have Valley Floodcaller, we have the new 2-drop flash creature that the 2-drop hack effect on a creature, I think Glamour Gifter or something with a G.
Okay.
Yeah, so another blue creature that's an instant speed win with Mayhem Devil and Malcolm, right? So
That's hot. I didn't think about that card.
Right, so blue isn't just a splash color in Malcolm. I think there's actually that's one of the rare ones where it's slightly more balanced.
Okay.
But I guess if I had to pick a 2-color combo for it, is it? It's likely there.
And black is more of the splash.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
It's splashed in for the tutors and for your necros, but
yeah. I think the point to answer the question, and then maybe we weren't very succinct.
Super roundabout way.
I think most decks are at their core 2 colors, and you're splashing for the strategy. You might go up to like 3 core colors for certain strategies, but I still think even most 3-color decks are 2-color at their core, splashing a 3rd color for like silences usually. Because white is really hard as a strategy to build around in CEDH.
Yep.
I think innately. You basically are getting it for the treasure generators, maybe a little extra card draw, and
Silence effects.
Generally. Not always, but generally.
Yeah.
Most other white cards in your deck aren't I can't even think most other white cards you're really running.
That's fair. Generic value, your Esper Sentinels.
That's what I'm saying. Like a little bit
that.
A little bit of light card draw.
Yeah.
For the most part though, it's the treasure generators and like they're all those cards are like standalone strong usually and then you're usually helping to like build around the strategy. So, yeah. So to answer the question, 2 colors. So we're going to do a quick meta breakdown to wrap up this episode. We played in a 20K CCS event. It was the first one for their qualifier tournament series that they're doing. The meta was interesting. And so Lily and I had predicted some kind of meta shifts. They're not really coming to fruition.
Yeah.
The Rogthras meta that we expected it just hasn't been seen.
Right.
Even the Rogthras I'm playing against, they're just not converting. Actually, what we saw this week was a lot of Sisay.
I don't think I played against a single Rogthras at this tournament. I know they were there.
I played against one.
Yeah, I didn't play against any, which is I mean, I'm not complaining. I didn't have to hear tap and untap Gaia's Cradle, right? But don't think I played against a single Rogthras. Like Jordan said, we saw a lot of Sisay. As is expected, kind of with the CCS Georgia meta, a lot of Magda. I don't
Always
know.
Magda.
What about that venue just has a glowing sign that says Magda players congregate here, but so much Magda.
I was shocked by the amount of Sisay I've seen lately. Mm-hmm. Like, it seems like everyone saw the TAM card come out and has decided, like, Sisay is worth playing again.
Yes.
And Sisay has gotten scarier again. It's not as scary as it was during Dockside era, but it is.
It's threatening.
It's threatening again.
It's inevitable, right? It's the inevitability of Sisay. If you let them sit on the board long enough, they're going to find a way to assemble a win.
We also had, like, a weird mix of out there, I guess, turbo decks.
Yes.
I don't know how else to put that, but like Crick, top 16. When's the last time we saw Crick make a big appearance?
This is true.
Minskin Boo, I think we saw one. Mm-hmm. Oh no, sorry, Sammy. The art is similar. A Sammy.
Yep.
Wildcat Captain, top 16. And then we had some weird Inala, sorry, and then Ral won the whole thing. So like a lot of turbo. But then we had on the flip side of that, a lot of control decks.
This is true.
So we saw a Shorakai. We saw a Marnius. Mm-hmm. There were 2 TNT players, me and Alan, both top 16.
Yep.
4 TNKs, which,
that's par for the course.
Par for the course. And 2 Kinnons.
Yeah.
Which, I mean.
Also kind of par for the course.
I'd say that's par for the course. And then 1 Rogside also made top 16, but like, so
typically there's always 1 Roxai as well, right?
Yeah.
I feel a lot of this is par for the course, and a lot of this is on brand, especially with the mid-range decks. But I think the unique turbo decks are what is really interesting about this event.
Well, I think it's showing that there's room in the meta right now for like weird niche turbo decks to kind of get under.
Yep.
But also like control decks. Shorakai we don't normally see in top pods.
Right.
Marnius we don't normally see in top pods.
Right.
Like players do pick these decks up and they do well. Mm-hmm. And then it's like they fall off for a bit. Like they lose popularity and people just stop playing them. Like it's not like even that they're performing badly. People just kind of stop playing them. So
that's true.
From that perspective,
you had somebody else on TNT as well. Normally,
well, that's what I'm saying,
you're one of the only TNT pilots at a tournament.
Alan's a very good player, though, so it's not surprising. And his Heartwood Storyteller.
Shout out Heartwood Storyteller, bro.
That card's funny. I'm not brave enough. I'm not a brave enough man for that card. I thought about it.
Send it, Jordan.
I had it in the list at one point, and I almost took it to an event, and I chickened out right at the end. I was like, I can't.
I'm overcooking. Get me out of the kitchen.
So I think the meta trend right now does seem to lean green. I still think Kinnan is seeing a lot of play.
Unfortunately.
Team K had a renaissance this weekend. But again, I don't know. Not sure what that says about the meta itself. It did feel like TNK was starting to have like a fall off moment, but maybe we spoke too soon on it. I will be curious to see if the Sisay trend holds.
I'll be curious about that as well. Or if it's unique to the CCS meta.
Yeah.
Because Georgia is a different beast than even what we see in North Carolina or South Carolina. And
now with our buddy Hayward taking Ral to force fight and top 4ing, and Blake winning CCS.
Yes.
Ral is now starting to convert in top 16s, and it was not doing that.
It is. It is starting to break the mold of Swiss murderer flounders in top 16 because people know how to play against turbo. Now it's starting to take down those top 16 pods, and that's really interesting.
I think that's a trend that'll be interesting to watch moving forward.
For sure.
So, well, that's all we have time for today, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. Make sure to join the Discord, like and subscribe here. We also check out our TikTok where we post shorts, that we clip out of this video, but also just some stuff that we observe. We're also going to be trying to make more content while we're at events. Sometimes it's hard. Mm-hmm. I tend to go to time a lot. My bad. I try, though. I try not to, but it happens. It's TNT. We're slow. We're plotting. We sometimes, that's just how we do it. And then also check out our Monolith channel. We're going to be posting stuff there. We've got our weekly practice sessions that we'll be posting. Definitely check those out. I think it's a good glimpse into what our practices look like and, kind of, how high level players, kind of approach this game and how we break it down and kind of how we look at it. So definitely check this out. We're going to keep trying to make awesome educational content for you guys. If you have any ideas or topics you'd like us to cover, put them in the comments. And again, if you have any questions, put them either in our Discord channel, the Ask the Drakes little section right here, or put them in the comments of our YouTube channel. But we do appreciate the support, and see you guys next week.
See you guys.